Hey, good morning, guys. If you are tuning in, you are obviously curious about what Will's superpower is that he was born with, which is hilarious. Because I just got back from the gym. And I'm drinking my protein shake. And I was thinking about something a friend of mine was telling me the other day about how disciplined I am in just getting my workouts in, my nutrition, my work ethic, da 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 da. And as I'm working out my shoulder and I'm going through the pain and going through my schedule throughout the day and just checking off all the boxes, I'm thinking about how different it was from when I was younger. Because I was a different kind of kid. And if you ever saw any of my public speaking, I'm not the typical young black man that grew up. My dad was there. He was a cop. Was actually going to be in the FBI at one point. My mom was a nurse. Actually, she was the supervising nurse for many, many, many years. They were grinding, and they moved us out into the country because I guess they figured, like, if I grew up in the city, I would have ended up dead. Little did they know that I would still find trouble later on in the city being a country boy. But I think the reason I got into so much mess growing up, which I'm still doing reparations for now, is because I had the mutant power of avoiding work. That was my superpower. And it was funny because I think about it, how other kids, when they're young, you're young and you're dumb, and you see your dad out there mowing the lawn, and you want to mow the lawn, and you want to do the other stuff that the adults are doing. That wasn't my situation. I saw him mowing the lawn, and he's like, "You want to learn how to mow the lawn, son?" And I was like, "Nope," because I think it was my spider sense that said, "Hey, Will, that looks like work. You really don't want to do that." And it was the same thing when he tried to teach me how to work on cars, because my dad knows how to do all that stuff, like a lot of fathers did, and he wanted to pass that knowledge on to his firstborn son. And he said he's under the hood, and he's like, "Hey, you want to learn how to how to work on the car with me, son," and da da da. And I was looking at it and I was like, I don't think so, pass. And even when my mom tried to teach me different things about cooking and cleaning and sewing, I just wasn't interested. I just was not interested in anything that looked like it wasn't fun. I was totally addicted at a young age to the pleasure principle, and anything that looked like it required focus, discipline, or sweat, I was allergic to. I just immediately, found a way out. I would dodge it. I'd fake an injury. I'm like 5. I'm faking an injury. I'm limping. I don't feel good. And it was just kind of funny how I kind of subconsciously held on to that throughout a lot of my life. I was the master at finding shortcuts. The master at, I think even before they came out with the Easy Pass, I was already working the Easy Pass, and the sad part about it is I was good at finding the cheat code, and it created this unstable, successful pattern for me, to where I was creating what looked like success. It was superficial success because it would never hold up against the pressure of life. And when you're young and you're dumb, you're invulnerable. You got the energy, you got the positivity, because you ain't really run into nothing. You ain't had no rejection, you ain't dealt with no criticism. You're just rocking it. And I was always charming, so I would just charm my way into situations and just move. And I wouldn't study. I wouldn't do what other people were doing. And the problem is with that, with me being charming and undisciplined, I created a world that easily crumbled and self-destructed, you know. It was no wonder that I fell into addictions, depression, obesity. I was always a big kid growing up, but you know, as I started to accumulate losses and rejections because of my own mess, I went further and further down the rabbit hole of my own low self-esteem, you know, and instead of, you know, turning my junk around and doing it the right way, I tried to find a better cheat code. Because, like I said, my superpower was, you know, not working hard, you know. And it's funny because when I finally, you know, man, I can't tell you how many rock bottoms I hit. I must have hit at least 10 because I was maximally stubborn, you know, and because the cheating had worked for me earlier. So I just thought, okay, if I try it again and put a little twist on it, it would work out this time. And then it would just dig me deeper into the hole, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically, man. It was just nuts. And when I finally had that come to Jesus moment, you know, where I finally started listening to the people who really loved me and cared about me and was, you know, just I mean, they were just slapping me like, yo, Will, you just really messing up. Yo, man, you've got to get your junk together or you're going to be another statistic, you know. I think that's when I really started the journey of doing things differently. And like I said, it's a journey because no one goes from ratchet to righteous overnight, period, you know. So it's almost like when I'm talking to my clients that I do coaching with, that you have to slowly kind of embrace this new lifestyle. You almost got to sample that sucker, you know, because you have developed a taste for dysfunction and you don't even realize it. That's become your normal. And my attraction, my chemistry for chaos was, man, it was like level 10, you know, and it reacted in every scenario, whether it was a relationship, whether it's a career, whether it was my health and fitness. I was attracted to the brokenness, you know, and because of that, I would create broken realities, you know, in my relationships, in my faith, in my health and fitness, you know, which could, you know, and you know, when you're broken, you can't handle the weight of life, and so I would break again, you know, I would fall apart again, and it wasn't until I said, you know what, you got to start doing things the right way, Will. You've got to start doing the real work. You know, because this is the thing is that I was creating more work for myself by dealing with these cheat codes, man, and taking the shortcuts by finding the easy way out, which ends up turning out to be a dead end. And so I'd have to turn around, you know. And so instead of repeating multiple mistakes, I decided throughout this journey, I'm going to learn to do it the right way the first time. Maybe the second time, let's be honest. But I'm going to get this thing right. And the results have been phenomenal, you know. Not just in my health and fitness, but in my business, you know, in, just the friendships and relationships I've made. And mind you, I'm still course correcting, you know, some things in my life that are hard. They're really, really hard, man. And but instead of me avoiding the hard work, avoiding the sweat, tears, and sleepless nights, instead of running away from my issues, my challenges, I've learned to embrace them, because if I really want to avoid work, I'll do the hard work the first time, you know. And this is kind of like the message I wanted to kind of pass on to you guys. Like, if you really want to live your life on the next level, you've got to stop stacking losses. You've got to stop looking for the easy way out. Do it the right way, the hard way, the first time. Or be like me, you do it the second or third time. But don't be like me, 20 years ago, where I would just continue to dig into my dysfunction. Okay? Get your life right. Get your life right and get a better life. Okay? Love you guys. Peace, and I'll talk to you later.